All right, here we go. Welcome to the Orange and Blue Crew. I believe this is episode 13. We're going to say it's 13 for now. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll correct myself, but I think it's 13. Obviously, it's been a while since we last have been active on this channel, but nonetheless, we're back. Things got a little lost in translation. I had to move across the country, and then I had to just reacclimate my life. And then once that happened, we're kind of getting into summertime, so people got things to do. But I can confidently say we'll be back and we'll be more consistent again. I'm excited because we're in an interesting phase in the off season because at least with the new CBA, teams are able to get active a lot quicker, and we've already seen how some teams are getting active. We'll hit on that in just a little bit, but I did, of course, just want to touch on the end of the season for our Knicks. Obviously, it was a tough one, an unfortunate one at the hands of Indiana in that game 7. And I think the worst thing that they did was give us hope when they fought back in that third quarter. I think they cut it to 6 or 7, but
Hmm.
it was they never made it any closer than that. And we just looked, I mean, it was ugly. And honestly, I'm glad that we didn't have any sort of like heroic comeback because I got to be honest, I don't think even Knicks fans would have wanted to watch Alec Burks and the gang against the eventual NBA champions. I mean, maybe it could have been fun to watch just because it would have been like, a bunch of
No,
guys and you're just like rooting for like, hey, can they win one game? But
no.
realistically, it would have been a nasty, nasty sweep. So all in all, glad it
The
ended that way.
basketball guys saved us from
Major embarrassment.
when Jalen Brunson broke his hand. That was the basketball guys being like, "You have done your best."
Yeah, try again next year.
Yeah,
It was tough to watch, but overall, I think we'll get into a bit of a season review, I think, in one of our later episodes. But just some quick thoughts on just how the season ended. We'll start with you, Jai.
Yeah, I wasn't as disappointed as the rest of Knicks land with game 7. It was just getting ridiculous at one point. As I was sitting there on my couch looking at the injuries, people hobbling, Josh with his stomach, the abdomen injury. I was like, this is the anything past this point is just dabbling with messing with next season. So when Jalen ultimately got injured in the third quarter, I was really nervous because I was like, this is just so stupid. Even if we win this game, we wouldn't have even breathed on the Celtics in the next season, in the next series, just based on injuries that we had already sustained. So yeah, I was disappointed that we couldn't get to the ECF. That was obviously a big goal of mine. I have never seen that in my lifetime. So I'm disappointed that we couldn't do it, but that's not the group that I think I wanted going. I didn't want the Knicks to be going in hobbled. If we're going to the ECF, I want there to be a possibility that we're going to the next stage, the big stage. So that didn't look like it was possible. And I'm glad that the Knicks fought and were able to get themselves to a point of recognition to where the whole league is looking. The whole league is waiting to see what we do. So I'm really excited.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I can resonate with that feeling of like, well, now the eyes are on us, which is a spot we haven't been in before. Like it's usually just the Knicks, ha, ha, ha. But now I think people are starting to notice. But go ahead, Rick. I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, it's all good. Yeah, I think I mean, obviously the same thing. Me too. I wanted it to be over. We couldn't be our full self, but in the whole playoffs, with us even getting to the 2 seed, if we look back at the previous shows, you'll always continue to hear me say we're playing with house money. When that meant for me this whole time was we're ahead of schedule. We were ahead of schedule, but and I know how basketball works or any sport really. Like you take advantage of the opportunity you have right now because you never know what's going to happen next season. And we just fought, and it was amazing to watch. But the whole time we're starting Josh Hart, who's not a starter. We're starting Hartenstein, who was not a starter at the time. We're giving major minutes to Precious. You know what I mean? And like we were just banging out, and it was amazing to watch. But the expectation wasn't that we were gonna win the championship in this season, but we really, really showed up big. Like you're saying, that now people are talking about us in a way where, now they're just, if they're not cheering for the Knicks, they're just hating at this point, like, is you can't like sports in general, watch this team and still think that, and not say something positive or feel something positive about it. So glad it ended. Glad we were able to finish up. We're not going against Boston with Alec Burks in the band. So yeah, it was a fantastic season. Just sort of really felt vindicated about a lot of the belief we had in these guys in the beginning, because everybody was saying it's going to fall apart in January. We ended up having the best month and best team in basketball in January. So yeah, everything was fantastic. I just it ended as it should this season, and now we're here, June 26th, and now let's see where the chips fall.
Right. And for as much as we have to be happy about, there's still, plenty of areas of improvement for this team, plenty of areas of improvement, from the staff, from the front office. So without further delay, let's get right into it, man. Obviously, we're recording this on Wednesday, June 26th. And last night, or I guess maybe early in the morning, Wednesday, I forget if it was last night or early this morning, but actually, I think it was last night. Yeah, it was like before midnight. So last night, the big bomb dropped. Actually, definitely it was last night, because I think it was it happened in, like, I was at the Yankees game. I think it happened in like the 7th or 8th inning. Was when I got the notification, and somebody tweeted, the Knicks just saved the Yankees from every, like, New York sports outlet just slamming it, because we should have lost by more. Judge hit a grand slam in the 8th inning to make it 9-7, but we looked terrible last night. So yeah, I was at that game, and then I see the notification. I'm like, oh snap, we just traded for Mikal Bridges. And initially, I was happy with it. Like, there was never, like, I know there's been a lot of discourse about, wow, like, is he worth that? Like, Mikal Bridges isn't worth all of that. But I want to have this discussion today, because I really want to hammer home a point. I guess maybe you could consider it a hot take, but to me, it's not really a hot take. I more so don't understand why more people don't think this way. And it's that I think draft picks are one of the more overrated and misunderstood things in sports, in any sport. Maybe, I guess, basketball and football, because baseball is a very developmental sport. So, like, having, like, it's not like you're ever drafting. There's only maybe 2 or 3 teams in the MLB who are drafting to get a guy that's going to play, that same season even. And hockey's more similar to basketball, where, you're going to have a very top, like, drafts are top heavy. Like, your top 5 to 10 is where you're going to get the stars and guys that'll hit. And then after that, it's all projects, and you just kind of hope you get a little lucky. But in the NBA and the NFL, but particularly the NBA, there's a misconception that a player's value in picks is like there's a certain value attributed to a player in picks. And I've always thought that was funny, because when you have the player, right, like a Mikal Bridges or a Kevin Durant, because, the Nets traded a bunch of picks, or the Suns traded a bunch of picks for him, or Rudy Gobert, the Wolves traded a bunch of picks for him. I always have a saying, draft picks become names, and then everyone gets mad, right? So you can be as mad as you want, as upset as you want about, though, the Knicks gave up, was it 4 or 5 draft picks? 6 draft picks, yeah. So you give up all those draft picks, but here's my pushback. So you're getting a 27-year-old proven player who last year, or before last year, the season he got traded, went on a tear where he averaged 26 points per game. Last year only averaged 19 a game. But I don't think his game, he's not a true 25 point per game guy. So you're getting a guy that's capable at least of scoring 25 points a game. You're going to be asking him to score like 13 to like 17. He's a proven defensive player. He's been on a team that went to the finals, and the chemistry is going to be almost seamless, because he's going to have 3 of his former college teammates on the squad.
Championship teammates.
Yeah, they won championships together. So considering all those things, there's people who, oh, the Knicks gave up so much. First of all, they still have their 2 picks today. They have 24 and 25 today. And what get like I mean, you got to consider if the Knicks are committed to being good, at best, those picks for the Nets, if they keep them, are going to be like right outside the lottery. So it's not like the Knicks are trading these picks and they're going to be bad and then they're just going to miss out on drafting number 1 overall. Like in the NBA, you want to be picking top 5, or you're just kind of hoping you get right about a player you like. Other than that, who cares about picks? Because even look at the Rudy Gobert trade. The Wolves got Rudy Gobert. They're really good, and people are considering them an ascending team with no assets, mind you. And the Jazz, what are the Jazz doing? The Jazz are still terrible. The Jazz got all those picks, and they've done
and they're sitting on
them and doing nothing with them, and they're still terrible. So I don't understand this obsession in the sport community about draft picks. I think getting Mikal Bridges is huge.
Yeah, let me chime in on now, because this is one that I've been focusing on for a long time, and I couldn't wait for the Knicks to get rid of these picks, because it's been like one of these things where you guys are familiar with the term letting money burn a hole in your pocket,
right? Where
you're feeling like you got to do something with it, and being patient. I think the real thing here is that we look at these draft picks as superior assets, right? But the point that I'd like to draw out is they're only superior assets if you have the foundation in your organization that will allow you to build those players into something. Because the only defense for a draft pick being a valuable asset is Giannis, Kawhi, right? They're not picked in the lottery. They're picked right below that lottery. This team holds on to that pick. They bring in somebody in-house that they can develop, right? And you can strike you can hit the lottery with one of those picks, in the sense that if you have the infrastructure of development, then you can go ahead and turn those draft picks into something. Where I felt very confident in what we had was when Leon Rose and the team came into New York. They started, let me not gloss over Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas was a very good drafter. He did very, very good with the draft positions we had as Knicks early on, like to pick up like Nate Robinson, David Lee, Channing Frye, all these guys he picked, and they weren't very far misses, right? You're not going to look beyond his picks and think, oh, we should have got that guy. He blew it on like Ronaldo Balkman. You guys, you know what I mean? You guys probably remember some of these guys. But the thing about it is, when we got this new regime, we started to realize, hey, these guys are picking guys and we're developing them. They're getting better. The younger guys are getting better and they're serviceable and we can use them. And that's where the benefit of having a draft pick comes in, when you have an infrastructure that allows you to grow it. It's harder to have these conversations with people that are more casual fans, because they look at it as this asset. You've got all this money and you chose to spend it on Mikal Bridges. But if you're true to yourself and you understand what your team needs are, then you're going to go ahead and you're going to get a Mikal Bridges for all the reasons you mentioned, D. You're not going to stick around and wait for, throwing all of that draft capital away to someone like Paul George, who I really wanted to be here. But what's the problem with Paul George? Injury prone, 34, going for 34, wants $70 million per season. You give away all your assets for a rental of that guy, and he breaks down. So yeah, that's where I think a lot of that, casual sort of fan angst comes from. That's my perspective. But I think if you have the infrastructure, then they're assets. If you don't, get rid of them, because you're just sitting there waiting to get marginal players. And we saw that from Boston. Boston sat around and picked up the guys like Grant Williams when they had all those picks, and they just sat there and drafted, and they had to pick 3 guys in a row. And, none of these guys panned out to anything. They're just you know,
draft picks become names, and then it's like, okay, oh, we have this first rounder. Well, your first rounder became Grant Williams. Do we think of Grant Williams as some
as
great
a
player?
player,
No. So it's like, who would I rather have, Grant Williams or, I mean, Drew
Mikal
Holiday,
Bridges.
like, or Mikal Bridges? Like,
Yeah,
who do you want to have?
exactly. Exactly. Proven commodities. And I think this regime figured out the right thing. We picked a guy that's 27. Right now, the Knicks, the oldest player is Julius Randle. He's 30, 26, 27, 28. This is a significant move. Get rid of those draft picks. I don't want them. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. I think the biggest pushback was more so, or I guess maybe the big reason for the pushback might be in who you get for those draft picks, because people are, oh, you could have gotten. I don't think Phoenix is like giving you KD for that same package. I don't think um even Cleveland is giving you, and I mean, even the salaries would have to match, and you'd have to include a bunch of play like Randall or something. And it's like, we don't want to do that. We like what we have. So let's trade the assets we're willing to part with to get a player that can fit that kind of a package. So I love it. I love it. I'm glad we didn't. I'm glad we didn't do something that I think the Knicks might have done in, like, 2012, or like the Melo thing. Even the Melo, like trading for Melo instead of waiting and getting him in free agency, like stuff like that. Like I'm happy that we even though we moved assets, I think it was smart the way we did it, and we got a player who I think will fit seamlessly. I don't think there's going to be some sort of a, you know, like my friend Chris was saying, oh, there's only one ball. I'm like, no, bro, this isn't gonna. Mikal Bridges isn't coming here to shoot 20 shots. He's coming over here to hit corner threes, to hit 1-2 dribble pull-ups if he's open, and play defense. He's not here to be what they needed him to be last season. Right?
This is the Nets.
Yeah. Jai, I'm curious your thoughts on the trade, because I know you're our resident contract slash NBA accountant, if you will. I know you know all about that stuff. Yeah, I don't know anything about that kind of stuff. So what are your takeaways from the trade, and how do you view it? How do you grade it, if you will?
Well, you guys said the most important part already, which is that people forget that picks are people. And that the picks here, if everything goes right for the Knicks, the picks that we gave away are going to end up being more picks in the 20s, more shots at Quentin Grimes and whoever else is floating around there in the 20s. So that's just another thing. When this trade came up, I was eating my dinner after work. It came up, I saw the picks, I didn't think twice about it. That's what you do to get the player that you want. So also, we traded these picks to the Nets. The Nets famously don't know what they're doing with picks. So we're not gonna, I mean, like, really, you mentioned the Celtics earlier, Dad. They traded for, remember KG and Paul Pierce?
Yes, I do.
They traded 3 first rounders. So that trade was in, like, what, 2012, something like that. Probably went well the first couple of years, but those later picks ended up being like 2017 or 2018, which is, if you remember, Jason Tatum.
Tatum and Brown.
And Jaylen Brown.
Yep.
So that's just like, they don't understand that economy of picks, and if you can flash picks at the Nets and they'll bite and they'll give you the player you want, that's exactly what you do, especially because things are going to go well for the Knicks the next couple of years. So yeah, also just a really cool thing with Leon Rose, it feels like, with the exception of maybe Danny Ainge, we don't really have any trade restrictions with teams. We've dealt with the Raptors and the Nets most recently. And those are teams that we've, famously don't deal with or shouldn't deal with. So that's another thing that I was happy about. Also, the picks that we traded picks in odd years starting in 2025, meaning we keep all 3 of our picks for today and tomorrow. Meaning we can do whatever and we're flexible there. People don't pay attention to what Leon Rose says because he doesn't say a lot. But last year after the draft, he let people know we had 22 picks total, which is insane. 11 first rounders and 11 second rounders. And since then, we've only dealt with second round picks. So besides the whatever number of first rounders we just let go of, but we still have the other ones. We didn't trade any type of future for Mikal Bridges. So we're doing really, in my opinion, we're doing really well as far as assets go.
In terms of just what this does for our team, I think this is also, I think this was I mean, you mentioned it, Jai, trading, this is what you want to do, or this is what you do when you're trying to get a player that you want. I think this also does something for us, which is great, which is, at full strength, it sends DiVincenzo and Hart to the bench, which is perfect. Like, for as much as they contributed offensively, I mean, really just contributed to our playoff success, period. I mean, Dante hit huge shot after huge shot, big games. Josh Hart, I think it goes without saying, I think there were times where you could argue his impact on the floor was even bigger than Jalen Brunson's. Like, he was that good. That being said, those are not players that you necessarily want starting. Those are, we want Josh Hart being your sixth man, seventh guy, off the, in the rotation. You want DiVincenzo being your, sixth man bench scoring type of guy, come in and have the green light and shoot a bunch of threes and play some defense. I think it also just gives us something that I've been so envious of for a lot of teams, which is the positional versatility. Like, you look at the Celtics, and 1 through 4, it's like every guy on that team can guard 1 through 4. Obviously, maybe we just have, Brunson is only 6'1", right? But I mean, he's a lot stronger than I think people realize. And he works hard. So are there going to be situations for maybe disadvantages there? Sure. But I mean, when you look at the starting lineup, or the potential starting lineup of, just looking ahead, Brunson, Mikal, OG, Randall, and then, whoever our center is, I mean, you're talking about, it's really good size. After Brunson, it's just, it's 6'6" and up. And you love that. That's what I like. You like long players. And especially, I think the Celtics, people always say, NFL is a copycat league, but the NBA is a copycat league just as much. And I think with the Celtics winning the championship with, versatile wing scorers and defenders, I think what we did was we got guys who aren't necessarily explosive wing scorers per se, but they're capable wing scorers, and they're better known for their defense. So they're built to stop those guys. Mikal and OG are essentially like, when you look at just the makeup and who you're trying to beat in the Eastern Conference, OG on JT or JB, Mikal on the other. And then you kind of, let the chips fall where they may. So I think this was just, in terms of just how it works, it's perfect. I think it lets us play a really versatile offensive game too, where you've got, your Brunson and Mikal and OG on the outside, and you got Randall on the inside. I'm looking forward to what that team could look like. But I think I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that I've mentioned a name who has not yet quite joined the Knicks for the future, and that's OG ANUNOBY. There's been a lot of conversation surrounding OG, given that he entered free agency, which I think is something that we all expected him to do. I don't think any sane Knicks fan was expecting him not to test free agency and test the waters. At least I think every player, I mean, if you can see what you're really worth, I don't think it ever really hurts you. But in this situation, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's over for the Knicks. Mikal is OG's replacement. If anything, this move told me the exact opposite. This told me that the Knicks are going all in on trying to win. Like, I think right now, because I think the picks we traded were until what, 2029. So I think what the Knicks are
31.
saying, 31. Okay, so 31. Realistically, as let's say, just in terms of the ages of our guys, you've got, Brunson and Mikal and all them, they're 26 is the youngest. Let's say you've got the Knicks are, I'm saying, I think the Knicks are telling you, we believe we have about a 4 to 5 year window where with this team can compete every season.
Yes.
And one of these years we're going to get it right. So I think that's what that says to me. And even after the Mikal trade, they can still afford OG. I think it
Yeah.
leaves a lot of uncertainty with Hartenstein. And of course, Mitch has been linked to um, trade rumors and, is he moving? And, he's posting on social media about, oh, I live in Tennessee now or whatever. Like, there's certainly uncertainty with those guys.
Yeah.
But the biggest cog, which I think we really like, which I'm not worried about keeping, but the biggest cog in all this is going to end up being OG. I think,
Yeah.
I don't think that necessarily the ship crashes without OG, but it's certainly not ideal if OG
Yeah. So
leaves.
I think without OG, we are a second round out again. That's just, because I don't know that Randall coming back, having to figure out where we are again. Let's say I think we're second round out again because teams also get better, and then you might have the emergence of another one of the teams out there. But I think that with OG, we are elite. I think with OG, we're an elite team. I think without OG, we're an extremely good team. And that's the difference. Now, is that worth $40 million? That might be something for the capologist to discuss. What are you thinking about OG?
OG, I really love OG ANUNOBY. I don't know why I said it like that, but this has been the hardest part of this discussion is OG. Actually, funnily enough, a friend asked me because they sent me the article about OG declining his player option for 19.9 million. And I was like, I don't know what he's gonna do. OG is a real question mark. Like I'm just talking about personality wise.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's no indication that he'll be leaning any other way. He'll do whatever wherever the wind blows him is wherever wherever he goes is where he's gonna go. But I said after that I was like, but you know what, Mikal Bridges has always said he wanted to be a Knick. They've been teasing at it, and we can go and get him if we need to. It wouldn't be the end of the world, and that's what ended up happening the next day. But we still have OG, and that's still a possibility. My opinion, I said it yesterday in the group chat, give OG whatever he needs. But also, if we're thinking of, if he is operating from a basketball perspective, if OG ANUNOBY is not looking to get the biggest payday, which once again, I don't know if that's what he wants to do. If you look at the Knicks, I think we have his bird rights too. So we can give him the most money out of any team.
Yes.
If you look at OG ANUNOBY, if you look at the New York Knicks in the East, there is no team right now after this trade that is better equipped to beat the Celtics than the Knicks. Not a single one healthy. So if you're looking at a basketball perspective, if you want a championship, if you want to be competitive, and this doesn't just go for OG, this goes for the entire league or the entire East.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be competitive, if you want a shot at greatness, then the New York Knicks are the place to be. So that's what's on the table for OG. I'm sure that's what Leon Rose has presented to OG. And like I said, he's a wild card, but it's up to him.
Well, how much of that? I mean, I believe OG's agent is Leon's son. So do you? I know not nepotism isn't the word, but I feel like that puts us in a, I don't want to say a more favorable spot negotiation wise, but I feel like that has to mean something. Like it's not like I think when you're just being realistic about it, I think there has to be a little bit of back scratching on both sides because at the end of the day, I mean, let's just say, I mean, you guys are father and son. Let's just say, Reek, you're the GM of a basketball team, and Jai, you're the agent of an important piece of that team. I think there is some level of, I want to do something for my dad. I want to do something for my son. So I think there's more capability, there's more flexibility to meet in the middle because I even think I read something about the Knicks can even offer OG the most guaranteed money. I don't know how I mean, the CBA sucks. CJ McCollum and I think Grant Williams, they need to be impeached from well, the president and
Damn.
VP of the MB. That I mean, it's every time I read more new information about the CBA that I didn't know about before,
Yeah.
I'm blown away because it's like, yo, what can like do the what freedom
Did they read it?
Yeah, like who what are teams? It's almost like teams are handicapped in a much different way than we've ever seen. But I feel like this situation for us is very favorable. Would you guys agree? Do you think that
Yeah.
maybe there's nothing there?
So there's a couple of things with the OG thing, right? One, the first thing I want to say is I am not in favor of these young men giving any financial support to any of these teams, Knicks included. I love the Knicks, but the job of a GM, the job of a president, the job of a front office is to equip that team with the players, the coaches, and the framework to win a championship. That's their job. And with that includes understanding the cap, understanding the players. The owner of that team has the ability to do whatever they need to do to free up the money, to make up for any mistakes that has happened with this team. So I'm saying that I don't need OG to give any money back, and I damn sure don't want Brunson to give any money back. Get your money. The thing here is, the Knicks front office has to take into account OG ANUNOBY. So yeah, the father, the son thing, that's out there. And I think that's the reason why he got here, right? So I think that you played that card to get him here, right? Do you want to come to New York? This is what it could be. You can get that more offense that you want. You can play, shoot a few more. We're going to need you. You're going to be incorporated into the offense more. That got him here. What's going to keep him here is the money. That's what it seems like to me. So they're talking about 35 million to 38 million. We can pay him more. We can pay him up to $40 million per season over 5 seasons, more than anybody else can. So it's around 40 million or something like that, maybe 42, right? We can pay him up. That's the amount that we can pay him. The Knicks front office they've got to pay attention to his injury history. They got to pay attention to just his injury history, his availability, right? What happened, Jai?
I thought you were going to say more, but that was it. I mean, that's the big one.
That's the big one. They ain't got to say no more. This Joker went out with a random elbow injury for weeks. So the thing about that is that's what you got to pay attention to, and you have to use that. And before getting off into Hartenstein and anything else, we have the money right now to pay him, but the timing is going to be important. You talked about the CBA. You talked about that first apron, and which to me sounds like that first apron and that second apron. Those are the things that are going to sort of keep us at bay with the signing. In order to if we make the signing of OG Anunoby early, then that puts us above the first apron, and we want to stay below the second apron, because then we can't use some of the benefits like the mid-level exception. You can't, so we made the trade already that we're going to make the one, but I think we have another trade in store. And so then you can't take back extra money. You can't add additional assets if you reach the second apron. So you can't, trade Mitch with a first round draft pick in order to bring back someone that's more than Mitch, right? If Mitch is the guy on the table, once you reach the second apron. So the thing about it is they have to keep the money underneath the first apron before they make that second move. So I think there's another move coming, but they got to keep OG. OG has to consider, like Jai is saying, where he is. He signed up to come here. You saw that you are the piece. We added another piece that gets us over the top. And that just has to be the pitch that they make to him. If he's willing to take a 38 and restructure the deal so that he can, get some more of the money that he reaches into that 5th year, then I think we get it done. I don't think they bring him here without having a very, very solid chance of keeping him. And we're probably going to have to pay him in the range of $40 million a season. And the last thing I'll say is I hear a lot of chatter about, would Brunson be okay with him being the highest paid player on the team? Well,
he already said he wants to. He's down to be team friendly. He already said it.
Yeah, but I don't want Brunson to be doing all that. But that's just me personally, and I think his father sitting on that bench is probably telling him the same damn thing. you better get that money while you can. 250 mil. I'll give you a discount of 247 mil. You know, like that I don't want that to happen. I want Brunson to get paid, but OG has to take into account, you know, where he is, and you know, giving any money away, I don't believe in that. But 40 million, I think we can handle 40 million as the Knicks and still sign Hartenstein. That I think can happen.
Do the injuries concern you though? Because that is something, like, even with the hamstring thing. I mean, I seen somebody call it a Charlie horse. I think he did strain his hamstring.
That's right. I forgot about that one.
But yeah, but I mean, for what it's worth, I mean, he went out there and tried to play, and it looked like he was wearing a dirty diaper. Like that. I feel like that's not nothing. Like, you're not going out there trying to play under those circumstances if you're somewhere you don't want to be.
Sure.
Like, I feel like people are kind of overthinking this thing a little bit.
It could be, but the money is the big deal. The money is the big deal. Like, you know, are we going to give him $38-40 million to play 50 games a season? You say you had the same concern with Paul George, except he's young. This guy's younger. OG's younger, right? That's right. $40 million. The cap changes. Brunson's going to get paid. Randall's going to get paid again. You know, I don't think they really care about where the salary ranks. Because 40 million is not a super max. You got guys almost making $60 million, 50 million. Like, you know, who's that? Jaylen Brown. They make 60 million a season. That's insane.
I just
thought what I was talking about before. It's not really. That's what I was trying to get. It's not really a conversation of money with OG. I think he understands that he could go to the Pistons and make $40 million. But OG, just as we do, recognizes his inability to stay healthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the difference of getting that 40 million to play in Detroit or Portland, you know, battling with injuries still, you're just making that money. You end up like, I don't know, you end up like Jeremy Grant. That's somebody who believed that he could go somewhere, get some money, and just, I don't know, there's no second step to that. You're not going to be competitive. You can show that you can score, but then that's it. You have a contract that you can't possibly play up to in Detroit. You can't play up to $40 million in Detroit, in Portland, because you can score, but you can't prove that you can win. Cam Thomas next season is probably going to average like 35 points. That's just what being on a bad team allows you. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't translate. Bojan Bogdanovic averaged 21 points in Detroit. Came to a contending team, and you know.
Wait. Live WOJ bomb. We got
signed him.
Wow.
Free agent.
It's a lot of money. It's $42 million.
Yep. Wow. Literally live WOJ bomb. Free agent forward OG ANUNOBY intends to sign a 5-year, $212.5 million contract to return to the New York Knicks.
Told you they've given him the 200. How many is that, Jai? You did the math fast as hell. Is it 32 million?
It's 43. Oh, 42.
I told you he was getting that 42 million. He is not playing. 5-year, 212.
Yeah.
Leon Rose, I'm standing up and applauding you. Leon Rose, I am standing and applauding. Wow.
Look, that's the
famous. For the proof, I'm putting the timestamp. It's going to be backwards. This is the time.
No, it's in there, right?
Yep.
3:13 p.m.
This is the time today.
Yeah, so, 6:15 over here on the East Coast. It might be backwards. I apologize, but
it was space in front for you.
Okay.
Well, that ends that segment pretty well.
Wow. I mean, look, we were literally over here talking about, hey, God is good, man.
Yeah.
God is good for OG ANUNOBY. I wish I was with him right now. 42 M's for 5 years of his life.
The funny thing is, I don't think the news stops there either.
No way.
Because the draft starts in about hour 45.
Yeah, draft is in hour 45, OG intent, and I mean we still do have 24 and 25, so who knows if we're gonna trade. I mean, like you mentioned a few episodes ago, Reek, how good the Knicks are at drafting late, or how good they've been drafting late. So maybe they look at these picks as an area of strength for them if they can recognize their own success drafting late. So maybe they keep them and they draft two players. But wow, what a development!
That is a huge development. I think that leads us into a Mitch deal. Because I think we can still keep Hartenstein. I did some research earlier today, and they threw out that OKC for Hartenstein, and at first I was like, in order to take Hartenstein away from the Knicks can pay him 180 something million over 4 years. That's the max we could pay him. We don't have that 5th year. We don't have his. I don't think we have his bird rights.
Right.
We have his early bird rights. I forget how that whole thing goes. So I was looking at the OKC salaries, and if you guys want to look it up, it's pretty bananas over there. These guys were like top 2 in the West. They traded already Josh Giddey. Their highest paid player is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, which should be. He's making $33 million per season. The next highest paid player was Gordon Hayward, who is now a free agent. After that, Lou Dort makes $15 million. Other than that, nobody else I think is in double digits.
Yeah, I think Shea's got to be making. He's
33.
33, yeah.
33.
Okay, but after that, it's just Lou Dort 15 and everybody else.
It's all on rookie deals.
Yeah, because Jalen's on a rookie, Chet's on a rookie.
Yeah, that's it.
What's his name?
Jalen.
Yeah, the other Jalen Williams.
So
Isaiah Joe. Yeah, wow.
If they want to, which we've seen already from the Gordon Hayward, they're ready to throw away money. If he can give, I think that if they give Hartenstein $25 million, I think if they give him $25 million, it would be impossible for him to say no. I think $25 million doesn't.
Yeah,
he's really making $9 million right now. And if they give him 4 years at $25 million, they give him $100 million. I wouldn't want him to say no.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat as you, where I want the players to get every penny they can get.
Yeah.
These organizations, they don't owe the players owe them nothing. Milk them for everything that they've got. But I do think there's a slight, like, we do have, not that he owes us one, but I think
he kind of owes us one.
Well, not even that he owes us one, because if anything, we owe him, because like he played better than what we expected him to be. So I feel like if anything, there's a bit of a New York, I will call it the New York tax, where if the Knicks are really, really good because you stayed, that value is worth, something more that can't be quantified in money. I'm all for Hartenstein saying thanks, but I'm gonna go get literally the most money I can make. But I do like there is like a bit of a sentimental something there,
Yeah, I think so. What you think on Hartenstein, Jai?
Hartenstein. Unmuted. Hartenstein, I have grown to care less about.
Damn.
Over the last few days, and I was really thinking about, well, even not in the last few days, the last 24 hours, when I was thinking about when Mikal Bridges first came into my mind, I'd already been in the mindset that if we have Mikal Bridges, we're not going to have OG. That's what my relationship with Mikal Bridges has been for the last few months. But then I was like, is there a world where we can have Bridges and OG together?
Yes.
And that's the world we live in now. But the Hartenstein's going to get paid a lot of money. OG ANUNOBY, this deal here has blown open the market because we got a new cap, a new CBA, and we don't know what the standard is going to be for non-max players, because that is a lot of money, but it's not a max contract.
Yep.
So now we get to see what it is. Hartenstein's going to demand money, probably from like a OKC, like you were just saying. They're not paying anybody, and then we can't pay that. That's like the bottom line. So like you said, go and get the money. I don't really take it personally with Hartenstein. He's earned it. We signed him to literal dirt first go around. So I mean, it is what it is. As long as we get a replacement, because I don't trust that Mitch can play a full season, and we need a strong center. So, you know, I mean, it's cool with me.
Yeah.
Who could that center be? Who could that center be? Like I think that's the next train of thought. Like, because right now we have to, whatever the deal is, we lose? Can we do a sign and trade with Hartenstein? Can we do a deal with Mitch if we can keep Hartenstein? And I think that's the next thing. The center position obviously is what's up. But let's say we got to lose Hartenstein. Who do we get in support of Mitch? Because we got to keep Mitch then.
I like Valanciunas. That's a name I've seen floated around. I think the Lakers showed interest in him, but in the event we can't keep Hartenstein, excuse me. I think that's a nice, cheaper option. He's definitely a more prolific scorer, just about equally as good as a rebounder. Not too far off in terms of playmaking, because I think one of the better things that Hartenstein does that a lot of other bigs don't is just being able to make the right pass. Yeah. And something that he's a little bit more willing to do is knock down threes. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and act like Valanciunas is a 40% 3-point shooter, but definitely more willing, and that helps. So yeah, I think Valanciunas is a good name. Obviously, we do have Jericho, and if by some miracle of God, highly unlikely, but if by some miracle of God, Jericho Sims can literally just become a smarter basketball player, I think the Knicks are content with that, because that's the only thing holding him back is that he's just dumb. With all due respect, if you ever see this Jericho, like he's just like he's got all the athleticism, the size, the strength. He can be that great rim protector. Even as I think he has starting rim protection type potential. It hasn't clicked for him yet. He's slow on rotations, some dumb fouls here and there. Like it feels now this could be big for him, because I think he was, he did 1 year at Texas before he came into the league. So we came into the league young, and I think he was even young for his grade. Like, so he was like a young guy that only played 1 year of college ball. So, and I think we've seen that in the last few seasons. But now that he'll be, 2021, sometimes it just clicks for guys. So maybe this could be because we all remember when Mitch came in the league, he didn't have it all figured out when he first came in. So, and it was about year 3 for Mitch where we were all like, hey, that guy can be the defensive player of the year. So maybe this, that 3rd year, maybe it could be that for Jericho. So I think those are like, if I'm the Knicks, it's like that's what I could bank on as like backup options.
Who you got, Jai? Center, backup.
Well, I heard the name Jericho. I think Jericho's days as a Knick are done. I think he's watched his guard and it's time to go. But I have no ideas for backup center. I'm not going to step on any of you guys' ideas because I really like Steven Adams. I think I talked about that with Dad earlier. He's not making much, but there's the injury concern. But people think Steven Adams is like 35 years old. I think he's like 30. So it's a question mark. Like, we can just try people now. That's what the rest of the rosters, unless we make a big trade with these picks, like we're just gonna be trying people.
Yeah.
And, it is what it is. But I don't know. Maybe we've decentralized the center position because of the injury concerns at that. Just with the physicality of the game today, and maybe we're just going full wing attack with like mid centers. So
like Precious, because Precious still on the roster.
Yeah,
but he's more of a
power forward 3. Yeah. But I'm thinking we need some size and some girth down there to
Thanks for watching the Orange and Blue. We will see you all next week.
To contend with Embiid, right? Embiid is just he's massive, bro. He's too big.
Yeah,
I
you
do
gotta-
worry, speaking of size, I think this was the first thought that I had. I do worry about our size of the bench. I felt very insecure with our bench, even when they were playing well. Like now there's gonna be Deuce, Dante, Josh, as the backcourt. And then what we have Precious.
Yeah.
If we're pretending that our heart's not on the team, then we don't know who's at the 5. That's pretty small, in my opinion. We don't have to play the full bench. We can do teams of like, mixed up our starting lineup. Because right now, even with the 4 guaranteed guys that we have, our starting lineup is deep. Like it's deep.
we have depth that we've been wanting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We just have to have backup pieces on the bench, so like that can fill in, foul trouble and injury problems for the center position. We don't, because we got Ironman. Josh Hart normally doesn't get hurt. Bridges doesn't get hurt. Randall doesn't normally get hurt. So we got guys that just keep playing. They just keep playing and playing. So I think we do need a bigger center to that has to get some rotation minutes to stay ready for the bigger centers, and we do need a guy that can rotate out onto 3-point shooters. If we're stuck with Mitch, then we're going to get killed in the East, because you got Milwaukee with Brook Lopez, which he might be on his way out of there. Who knows? You got Indiana with Miles Turner. You got Embiid down in Philly that can, with a big shooter. Obviously, you got Boston with KP that can shoot from the center position, with KP and Al Horford. And Mitch cannot defend these guys. And we saw in the Indiana series just how impactful big shooters are for opposing teams. So some of the guys that are out there, people are talking about Drummond. I don't think Drummond helps us in that position at all.
I'll never forget a GM said Andre Drummond is the only guy that can have 20 points and 20 rebounds and not have a positive impact on the game.
Damn. Yeah. It's just bad. So the center pickings are thin for somebody that can defend a bigger guy like Embiid or some of these shooting guys. So that's going to be a problem for us that we have to address. Hopefully we get it done between, Hartenstein, Mitch, and the draft. Maybe there's maybe that's one of the things that we're going to see Leon come up with.
Yeah. Wow. What an episode. First time we've had some breaking news happen in the middle of recording. So that was pretty cool. But the off season is just getting started. I feel like the Knicks have done, probably they're over that, 50%. They've done the brunt of their work. And now it's a matter of, what is the final, 40% of this off season look like? Because I think, in terms of the biggest names, we've traded for Mikal and retained OG. So now it's just a matter of, who we're going to get to play center. Check rock, everybody stay healthy in the off season. Hope, Brunson's hand get healed, Randall's shoulder get healed, Josh Hart's abdomen get healed. Guys just get healthy, work on your game, and then let the chips fall where they may come late October.
I'm so excited. Yeah, I can't even believe it. I can't even believe OG in the fold now.
We don't have to speculate. It's like now the projected lineups. It's like no need to project. We at least got the guards and wings that we want. It's just a matter of.
And if you look at the history of free agency with guys like OG, normally this news comes in like mid to late July.
Yeah, I was expecting
that's good about this season.
Yeah, I was expecting to wait on this for at least another month, at least. So to get it done with now,
and we got him for 5 years.
Yeah,
he's a Knick.
Yep, locked in. So that'll do it for this episode of the Orange and Blue Crew. For myself, Jai, and Reek. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, and We'll catch you all next time.